The video on events in Scratch. Let's begin. So we got a list of events right here. The first event I want to go through is like clicking a green flag. So green flag's right up here to start the game. Typically, this is your start button on you want to start this code when the green flag is clicked. So for example, I might say move 10 steps. Every time I click the green flag, it's now moving 10 steps. Typically, you might have some kind of loop. You could typically maybe have a loop and then it'll keep moving 10 steps. So it keeps going in that direction. I can have that kind of stuff going. So it's just going to loop here. And that's how green flag works. Typically, that is stuff that you want to start stuff when the game starts. And you could have multiple events too with these. And so if you have multiple green flags that want to start at the same time and multiple sprites, you can. All right. Like for example, I can put one in Abby too. So Abby says hello when I hit the green flag and Scratch moves. So then when I hit the green flag, Abby's hello, Scratch is moving. There's green flag. Next thing is when a button is clicked. So you can hit when a certain button is clicked. I think they have when some key is pressed, right? So when space is pressed, maybe then I want to step forward. So I'm hitting my space bar. And every time I hit my space bar, it's gonna move forward. Maybe you want to use like up arrows, down arrows for movement. This is really good for that, or WASD. So maybe I go D for going right. Every time I hit right, it goes this way. You know what? I can even duplicate this. Maybe I want to say A is going backwards. So I'll say -10. So when I hit the A button, it goes backwards, and D button it goes. A button goes left, D goes right. So there you go when buttons are pressed. Now you can even switch this to when any key is pressed. So it moves. Oh yeah, well we don't want to have this thing. That confuses it if you're trying to do both. So any button is pressed on the keyboard does that. I don't know what you'd use that for. You just spamming keys on the keyboard, but there it is. Okay. We have another function when the sprite is clicked. So when you click the sprite, it's going to do that thing. So move backwards. Or maybe it makes more sense if you want to play a sound. I don't want to play the sounds right now. I hate that. So actually, I'll do that. Well, let's see when it plays the sound. So maybe I do this and it plays the sound. And there you go. All right. So that's how the sounds work. And yeah. Um, let's do the next thing when backdrop switches to. So you can also have another event happen when the backdrop switches it. So let's say now, and this stuff could be in these sprites or it could be in these backdrops. So maybe you're back when a backdrop switches, it starts a new scene, right? You want to reset the sprites, or maybe you want to hide a sprite. So I can also do. Let's say I want to hide. I'm in Scratch. When backdrop switches to, let's say it switches to the stars, Scratch is going to hide. I'm going to go into these backdrops now, and I'm going to switch it to stars. Wait, he didn't hide. Oh, maybe you actually have to actually switch it. Okay, so if I was in here and I want to do looks of here, I'm going to switch backdrop to stars. And if I actually click that, now he goes away. So you can't just click in here. That might not work. Good to know. So that's how to do events. And maybe I want to show Scratch again. Great. So you can do backdrop events. That's one way to like, again, it's really good if you're switching scenes or yeah, that's pretty much the way. But there's other ways to do that too. All right. Loudness. This is cool. Whenever your loudness, you have a microphone here, is greater than 10, it moves. So watch this. Step 1, 2, 3, 4. Step 1, 2, 3. Step. That's cool. He just kind of moves every time you hear something. You got the microphone plugged in. You can probably set the loudness to be lower or higher. I don't know. But, and I think you have to like stop talking because if I just sit there talking at this level the whole time and the loudness doesn't get down, then he's not going to move. But, there you go. Kind of cool. All right. Now, the last part of this is broadcast. Broadcasts are a unique part of it's kind of a how Scratch controls things. So, broadcast you send messages out and you could broadcast any message and you can type you can make a new message in here. Maybe this defines what the message is and you want to go I don't know, Scratch talks. I don't know. Or it's the next scene. You name it something. You broadcast this message, and then anywhere in any sprite where they receive that message, Scratch talks, it'll run that code. So it's a neat way that's you can kind of control the scenes. So maybe you have it like at the end of some like if you're doing a choose your own adventure and they choose like going left instead of right, you broadcast a message that oh they chose to go left, and then maybe in the backdrops there's a thing where oh they it switches the backdrop to a certain position, the sprites change positions they're at, and maybe like there's another when I receive this switching going left, it starts the next sequence of events. So it's a way to kind of control where you're going in your code. So it's very nice to like, and also you can send messages out where like, oh, I'm doing something, Scratch is talking, and then maybe your other sprite, when you get to this point in the conversation or the game or whatever, the other sprite gets a message say, oh, start doing your thing right now. You broadcast a message, the other sprite sees it, they start doing their other thing. So it's one thing to watch with broadcasting though is that every sprite and every the backgrounds are going to all see the same message. So you might have to have multiple different broadcasts unless you want them all to do the same thing at once. Like I can't say make a broadcast for just talks and say, "Oh, I'll make Scratch talk this time and Abby talk this time." Nope, you're going to need to make a Scratch talks broadcast and Abby talks broadcast because everyone hears it at once and everyone will do something if they're set up for that message. So it can make your programs hard to follow too because you have broadcasts all over the place. Yeah, bigger Scratch programs have that. So issue. So there's when you receive a broadcast, you can put those around for anywhere. And then when you wait, so let's say when Scratch talks, I want Abby to, I'm going to say control, I want her to run away from Scratch. All right. So I've set up Abby when you receive Scratch talks. Now Scratch is over here. And then, so when I click this, Scratch is going to meow. And then we'll broadcast Scratch talks. So when I click the green button, Scratch should meow. And then we'll broadcast Scratch talks, which should send Abby to run away. And there she goes. She's afraid of the cat. So that's a way to send messages too. I can also have another event over here where I say when I receive Scratch talks, maybe this scene switches backdrops to, I don't know, a random backdrop. Cool. All right. So again, I don't even need to be over here. I just hit the green button. I'm going to hit stop so she's not moving still. And I got to reset her. And then I hit green. And the backdrop switched too. So there we go. That's how the broadcasting works. It's a very powerful tool. That's it for events.